to the 4/30/28 August Budget Workshop, Crestview City Council, all of you. At this time, if you would turn off any electronic devices, we'd appreciate it. And Brother Joe, you're going to lead some Pledge of Allegiance, aren't you? All right.
Go on, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll open this workshop by just verifying that we don't take votes here, but we have all of our city council here. We have the mayor, city clerk, our attorney, and our illustrious department heads. Thank you all for coming. And at this time, does anybody have any problems with the agenda? If not, we're going to begin. All right, let's begin by first asking if there's anybody in the audience would like to address the city council concerning anything on the agenda. Anybody out there like to speak to us? All right, be like that. I get it. We can take hints. All right, thank you. Then we're going to move along. Madam Clerk, you have the floor.
Thank you. Hopefully this will be short and sweet. I didn't get any questions. Well, I got one
Give us
question.
an update on your dad before you begin.
Okay. He did fall. He did break his hip. They did a pin in his... I always thought breaking your hip meant you broke the thing around your hip, but not. Breaking your hip is breaking your leg. Don't ask me why. So they had to put a pin in it. They actually had him sitting up on the side of the bed this afternoon. They tell me he's going to be walking tomorrow. I said, well, he wasn't walking when he fell, so maybe it's good. He'll have 2 or 3 days in the hospital and then some rehab time. And
Well, our thoughts and prayers are with him.
Thank you.
He's a good man, and at 93 years old when you fall, oh, he's turned 94? My bad.
94.
By the way,
Yeah.
I want to welcome Ken back there at CCTV, too. Thank you for showing up, Ken.
Well, it's my pleasure to be here this evening.
All right.
I come for the door prize.
Oh, you just keep on waiting.
Yeah, that's right. You just keep on coming, and maybe one day.
All right, Madam Clerk, go ahead.
That's your bottle of water. That's your door prize. If you remember at the last workshop, we talked about options, and we had 4 options, and the consensus, the way I wrote it down, was that to come back with a final option 1 and option 3. It says option 2 on a couple of places, but the option 1 was 3%, everybody 10-1 except for fire and police, and the other one was 3% on 10-1, 2% on anniversary date except for fire and police. Changing, at that point, it was 3-2 for fire and police, but I have changed that at the direction of the council so that that also is 10-1 for fire and police. So those are the options that are being presented tonight, and I need my mouse. So that's the options that you have in front of you, and my mouse doesn't work. I worked in rehearsal. And it's still not working. Okay. I don't need this. I don't need irritation this evening. I'm irritated enough.
All right.
Anyway,
Who's got the mouse?
I know somebody's moving and it's not me.
Gotta find the
So
cursor.
all the way to the left, Thomas. That's what I need. Thank you. Okay. These are your 2 options shown in teeny weeny little form, so that you can see where we are as far as where the budget goes right now. Option 1, which is the 3% in the general fund based on projected revenues, gives us a excess of $41,000. One of the presentations at the last meeting was the elimination of the part-time clerical in planning and zoning, which we would like to avoid at all possibilities, which brings it down to 60, which brings it back up to 60,000. But even on both options, not eliminating that does give us some leeway. The leeway is based on a very conservative estimate of cash carry forward and our contingency. So I haven't raised the contingency in the general fund, and I haven't raised the projected cash carry forward, although if we keep on the current trend that we're on, it looks like we're going to be about 90 to 94% of budget for this year, which will give us more cash carry forward in the general fund that we can add back into contingency. So option 3 is the 3% and 2%. Again, in the general fund, it's not very much cash carry forward, but that's the conservative estimate. And with the preferred not elimination of that part-time person, makes that 30,000. In the utility fund, on both options, we're in okay shape. 126,000 in excess in the option 1, and $112,000 in excess in option 3. Go down to the next page. No. That's far. Back up. Oh. Okay. Somehow it didn't transfer over. Option 1, and basically what I'm looking for you guys is which way do you want to go? Where do you want to go? Do you want to go with the 3%? Do you want to go with the 3.2%? Those are the two options I was asked to bring back. They haven't changed from last time very much, so, except for the addition of the 5%.
Gentlemen, now's the time for comments, questions.
Your yellow page does say option 2, but it should say option 3, so don't. Yes.
Mine says option 3.
Yeah. On your cover page, it says option 2, but it is option 3 from the last meeting.
I have a question. I'm sorry, go ahead. You're first, Mr. Redpath.
Just to be clear, in option 1, that does include 5% for fire.
That's every request that has been asked in equipment and personnel changes. 5% for fire and police, 10% for dispatch, and all the equipment requests, and then 3% for everybody else, effective 10/1. Both of these options include the 5% on 10/1. Which is why there's not that much difference between option 1 and option 3. Because that's the two biggest payrolls we have.
I have a question for my fellow councilman because I got a bit confused. I didn't realize that we had, who supported the 5% pay raise at our last meeting? Which is what?
Police and fire, I did.
No, for everybody.
Oh.
Did y'all support a 5% pay raise? See, I know I didn't.
The
But
two
that's
options.
That's what option 3
Yeah.
is. It's 3 and 2, that's a 5% pay raise for everybody in the city, but 5% for the police and fire up front, which is not what I understood that we wanted. But that's what city clerk understood.
Yeah.
And we might have given the wrong option, I don't know, but I don't support a 5% pay raise when we have a cost of CPI at 1.9.
The two options I was asked to bring back was 1 and 3, with changing the 3.2 to 5% for fire and police. And that's what this is. Because I said, do you want both back? And y'all said, yes. That's where we are.
Mr. President, comment.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Hayes.
I see the options. It's for me. It's no contest. I'm for option 1, and I'll tell you why. And mainly what you made reference to. Not that we don't think our employees are worth it, but nobody gets a 5% raise normally. We know the exceptions that we made, and I think they're good exceptions that we made in that case. But the 3.2 I cannot support. Option number 3 on there.
See, I think that we would have had something to really discuss if the option had been stayed at 3%, but option 1 was 3% for everybody, 5% for police and fire at the beginning of the year, and the other option was split the 3% to 2 and 1, which is what I thought we were going for. But now we don't have that option. So if we're not supporting 5%, we only have one option. Is that what we want? Do we want to lock in an option, or do we want to look at the 2-1? Okay, it was a 2-1 or 1-2? 2-1, right?
It was 2-1, and we've got 2 weeks before our public
Oh, I understand that, but
Like I said, I was told 1 and 3.
I understand what you're
Changing
told,
the
but
3
I'm
to
going to
5%.
clarify here what we want.
Yeah.
I wanna make sure we understand what we want here. That we're not backed up, that we have to take something we don't really want.
And you said, I'm sorry,
Go ahead, you got it, Mr.
you
Fairclough.
said, option one, still, with 5% for everybody, that leaves,
That's not 5% for everyone.
what is it then?
Option one is 5% for fire and police, 3% for everybody else.
And that's still 90 to 94% of revenue? You said?
No, I'm saying no. I'm projecting expenses this year to be up to 90 to 94% of budgeted, which means that we'll have more cash carry forward
What I
possibly.
meant for the budget,
Yeah,
the whole budget.
as long as Harvey doesn't come.
You done?
Yeah.
Mr. Cox?
I support option one.
Do you want to look at anything else, or you're just happy with option one?
I'm comfortable with
You're
option
comfortable with
one.
option one, okay. Any comments, Mr. Blocker?
No, from what I have here, of course, I would like to go to option 3 for everybody, but that's impossible, period. So what we have to work with and must work with, option 1 will get us where we need to go.
Okay.
And that's my feeling, option 1.
Sounds to me like we have a consensus. We all like option one, is that correct? All right, okay.
President,
Yes, Mr. Hayes?
just a remark, I'd like to thank, our finance and our, clerk for working this, and, for the council for seeing to that our employees are worthy of consideration, which I think we're being quite kind, but they, they deserve it. I'm still gonna keep bringing up that we have to have some system so we can rate one employee versus the other. I'll keep harping that till I see it.
That is, with using option 3, that gives us a little excess funds to do that for next year, and then start bringing it forward, start working it out. Fire and police are pretty set on it. What we have to do is make it for everybody in the city, and then we have to bring some of the selected items that are consistent across the city-wide. Has to be consistent, attendance, uniform, everything has to be consistent across the city. So we'll be working on that, and hopefully we'll be able to bring that next year.
And I thank you. I understand that it's not something you can't do overnight, but, in 2 years I've been harping on, I haven't seen the effort made toward that. That just was, for the record, so we'll know Hayes
It
keeps harping
has
on
been
it.
explored. The problem was 2 years ago, or 1 year, last year when we started talking about it, the League of Cities was in the position of doing job descriptions and helping do that. Because you have to do job descriptions before you can do evaluations. Well, the League of Cities is now out of the business of doing job descriptions and out evaluations, and moves you to somebody else. So that's where our holdup has been.
Mr. President.
Yeah, Mr. Fairclough?
To talk to Mr. Hayes' statement. I think, and the chief can correct me if I'm wrong, Chief Taylor has been working on a merit increase system for probably a year and a half.
Yes, sir. We're actually test driving it now, working out some bugs. But as Ms. Roy said, it's specific. Although the format can be used citywide, the evaluations themselves are specific to different positions in the police department. And I believe that's how you have to approach this. It has to be job specific, and as Ms. Roy pointed out, job related. Last year I rewrote all the job descriptions for every job we have at the police department, and then we based the evaluations on that. And also with the accreditation process, our policies have to reflect what we're evaluating on as well. So it's not an easy process. And again, we're working some bugs out of what we got now.
Your job descriptions have to be redone. Your job descriptions have to be approved by you all. Okay? Then you have to work your evaluation forms into those specific job performance for each specific position. But you also have to have the generic stuff that has to be identical for everybody. You can't rate a utility service worker on attendance different than you rate a fireman on attendance. That's unfair labor practices, particularly if you do the fireman. I pick on Jody since he's here. But that's where the consistency, so once we get everything done, and I'm in the process of contacting, there is a, Florida HR, which is a kind of a branch off and has gone off from the League of Cities. And I keep missing the guy that's in charge of doing evaluations and things, and I keep missing each other, but we are gonna get together sometime this fall to either bring him here to sit down and go over, where he can look at our job descriptions to make sure what we have is correct in today's market, and go from there, so we'll be moving forward with it.
I'm good.
Any other comments? Ms. Fairclough, go ahead.
Would it behoove us to then let, or ask every department head to come up with job descriptions?
We have job descriptions for every department. We
Okay.
just have to make sure that they're all consistent, and the laws have changed on a lot of things, so that we have to make sure we're consistent across the board.
And who's gonna do that? I think that's what Ms. Fairclough
Well,
asked. Who's gonna do it?
I'm gathering the job description information from other cities, so that then I can get them to the specific department heads and say, does yours need to be changed to reflect this? What do you have? Because most cities have the same positions. And that way we can, once I get all those gathered, then I can get them to the department heads, and they can look at 3 different utility service workers that I like this one, or I like this from this and this from this, and then we can start from scratch and go from there. And then we write the evaluation based on that job description. And Amy?
Yeah, Ms. Teresa, do you have something for us?
I think most of the departments are already working on that project. We spoke, been nearly 2 years ago, in the mayor's conference, and we all have our own. We all have an idea, so we're just waiting for that, being able to congeal it into one part. We have descriptions, we have evaluations, we have monitoring of how we monitor our staff. We have specific training regiments that portion is unique for each department. My training will not fit the chief's training. However, my people couldn't benefit from having his training. So I think each department already has a good leg on this. We're just waiting for a master congealing of it together. And I think that's.
Well, so we can congeal it in the next year.
Mhm.
That'd be nice.
We can make jello.
Well, we were almost ready to present ours this year,
All right.
but we were inundated with a lot of extra meetings, so our portfolio is actually 90% complete. So we're going to be able to present that to you sooner rather than waiting to next budget year.
All right, thank you. Any other comments, questions? If not, I open the floor to the audience again.
Can
Oh,
I have the floor for just a
You gonna set the
second?
next meeting?
I'm gonna talk about the next meeting for just a second, because
Ah.
I'm going, Ms. Toussaint is gonna take my place at this meeting, so I can go back to the hospital. I just wanted to ask, because Jody's here, on the next meeting items, 2 of them were public services, so Mr. Steele is here to answer those. I guess my question is, do you have any questions on the ordinance for the 175, 185 plan that you planned on asking me at that meeting? Okay.
I don't.
All that is distributing the share plan that we've already voted on, and the public hearing on that will be at the next meeting, so.
I thought you were gonna talk about our next meeting for the budget hearing.
That was,
Yes.
oh, that's the next item.
All right,
That will be at 5:30 on September the 12th. I really, really wanted to have it at the September 11th meeting, but that's the school board, and by state statute, you may not have your meeting the same night as the, it has to be after 5 o'clock, and it can't be the same night as the school board.
You said September 12th?
That's Tuesday, because we can't have it on the 11th. And that gives us our 15 days to advertise it. We will have the final public hearing for the millage and the budget prior to the September the 25th thing, so nobody else had it that night, so we were able to tie those 2 together.
And that's at 5.
That's it, 5:30. There is Citizen of the Year presentation at 5 o'clock on the 11th. I'll be sending that out to you all, so that finally got picked for this year.
is it? All right, Madam Clerk, thank you. And thank you for the work that you and Gene have done for us. We appreciate that. Last call for comments from the audience. Anybody would like to speak to us about anything? If not, I declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you for coming.
Man.